Thank you, Eileen, Cipriani, Chief Judge, Chief Carroll, and Tom Reilly for returning back. I guess we'll pick up where we left off last week on the streetscapes.
Councilman, before we do that, one thing quick, just a quick update for council. As you may have seen, the budget is getting through to its finish line. We are able to determine there'll be no tax increase for 2026, and you'll be seeing that budget coming before you in about 10 days or so. There's still some work to be done on it. Both of the chiefs are here tonight for support and for information regarding traffic statistics and accidents downtown. So if we have any questions for them, they'll be here. But Engineer Reilly will pick up where we left off.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I will fast forward to where we left off. Let me see. Signal removal, and we had started talking about this. I just wanted to talk about it again because this is the test period, so there will be an advanced notification at each intersection that the work is going to take place, and as part of that, that's the sign on the left is the standard sign that also goes up with that in each direction, then at each of these intersections, the crosswalks will be refreshed, and there'll be bump outs will be painted. In some places they'll be temporary because we'll be doing a permanent bump out with curbs as the project progresses. In some places they'll be permanent, basically to channelize the traffic so that it is in the right location for best sight distance at the intersection and best sight distance between the pedestrians and the vehicles. So that prep work gets done, and then the stop signs put up, and these are the stop signs with the LED flashing perimeters, and then they after that prep period and notification, then the stop signs are uncovered, and the signals are turned onto the flash red. Then that performance is monitored, and the delays or any conflicts are monitored at that intersection for a month, and then if that is acceptable, if there are any red flags, then the signal is turned off and a bag put on it, like in that picture on the right, then the performance is monitored for a minimum of another 60 days. In the case of the development of the project, in most cases would be a lot longer than that, where we're doing streetscapes. And if that then performance is acceptable at the intersection, then sometime after that time period, the signals would be removed. And the question came up about the change to two-way, and based on our phasing of the projects, the signal equipment in the intersections changed to two-way. The signal equipment and posts will be left up, and we'll be able to monitor the performance after the two-way transition. And if there's a problem with that, the signals can be turned back on. So we're not going to be we're not going to be too quick to take equipment down, and the equipment basically removals, like outside of the streetscape, the equipment, all of the signal work is going to be done in-house by DPW, and they don't have to rush out there and do it. so there's time to have extended periods of review.
So all of that monitoring phase is going to happen after the two-way, so you're going to be monitoring?
We're going to monitor it, and so what's going to be helpful is, like, during the streetscape project, like, we're in a one-lane area, we're going to be channeling the traffic to the stop signs, so that it's going to give us more room to work on the side of the road, like we're putting new curbs and sidewalks in. And then once that work is done, we're going to be able to change to and we're going to put up the additional signals. And at the intersections to remain signalized, we have to add signals, because like you're going to have two-way traffic, say, now at Washington and Biden Street, or at like Adams and Mulberry, so that you would have additional signals are going to be put up. And so the transition to two-way is going to happen with signals in place at the signalized intersections. And then at the unsignalized intersections, we're not going to take the equipment down until we tested it in the two-way situation, and then we'll be able to. So all of our models have shown that this will work better, and basically in the models, besides looking at the warrants for traffic signals, for the 4-hour traffic and 8-hour traffic and pedestrian numbers, you also look at the levels of service and the delay, and the criteria is basically in the rush hour, the peak hours, not to make it any worse than the current situation. But what we're confident of is that out of the peak hour, where you take an unsignalized intersection, or you take a signalized intersection that's not warranted because it doesn't have enough traffic conflicts, and you take the signals down and have stop signs, that the traffic, where you don't have the traffic will move more fluidly, more smoothly.
Phase. Are you monitoring just the traffic with the lights and the traffic with the stop signs, or are you also monitoring how the two-way switch is working as well? Is it going to be?
Yes.
What's the data collected?
Yeah.
It's
So
gonna
the traffic. Well, I mean, we're confident that it's going to work based on the traffic modeling, but and there are tremendous benefits to the two-way traffic in terms of the ability to get around town with for emergency vehicles, more flexibility during events, more logical bus routes, and there are different things that the buses have to do now where they can't drop off people because of the one-way, that they'll have a tremendous amount of flexibility in their routes, just as you'll have flexibility in how you get to a emergency scene for police or fire or ambulance.
In that same vein of thinking, if we were to switch to two-way streets, keeping the street lights, does that work, having all of that two-way traffic around the courthouse, or does it have to change the stop signs in order for that traffic model to work?
So two-way traffic would work. Two-way traffic would work with
the current lighting.
with signals, or without signals. Basically, it's just that the overall performance of the intersection over the full day is better with the stop signs if the signals are not warranted based on the traffic conflicts.
Gotcha. So it could work both ways, but it would work more efficiently with the stop signs if we were to switch to two-way.
Yes.
Okay. And when it comes to those visually impaired stop signs, you were saying they're going to also have voice on them? You're going to be able to push a button that's going to talk as well, stating the intersection?
So we're definitely adding that at the signalized intersections, and we're checking out whether or not the voice part is available for an unsignalized intersection.
Okay. But for visually impaired, it may have a voice, but it's going to have lights that light up and
Yes.
and it goes into sequence around the intersection?
Yes, and then like in this picture, we're doing wider crosswalks with the type of material that's on the crosswalk down on Broadway for the trail, that's inlaid in the asphalt, and it lasts very long, and it's brighter, and and so a lot of the visually impaired, so less than 10% of visually impaired are totally without sight, and a lot of the visually impaired, can't read, are not able to read signs, but can see light and color, and they are interested in having the crosswalks be very brightly colored, as brightly as we can, and contrasting with the pavement, and they're also interested in having the crosswalk, like in this picture here, the crosswalks have a logical alignment with the through sidewalks, and not like at various random angles like some of them are now.
Yeah, that's a part of the plan. I agree with that. I like that. It makes sense. It makes it a shorter distance to walk it straight across. Right.
They want it to be logical, and this works better for anybody, whatever your abilities, to be able to have a logical, because you want people to walk in the crosswalk, and so in order for them to walk in the crosswalk, you want it to be logical, and then like this. Right now, there's like a bump out on the courthouse corner, but we'd be adding bump outs and shortening the crosswalks at the other three corners, and improving the signalized intersections, as I said, with the audible and the. I wanted to get into just a little bit of the rest of the streetscape, and some things that we had talked about as far as improving the reliability, the aesthetics, and also the ability to access buildings in an event. So the green is where all of the utilities are, the wired utilities already underground. And then the red are the part where we're putting them underground, and the blue are areas that are going to remain overhead. And so, examples of that, and there are plenty of examples. Basically, you have historic buildings that have a lot of most of these. There's Comcast and some other communication companies and the county's fiber lines overhead, and they and the going underground in the rest of the core, including in front of the cultural center, will improve the visibility and allow us to have period lighting with underground wiring to the period lighting. And as Chief Judge had said, they don't get in the way then of overhead access for emergencies. And then the other is the curb and sidewalk improvements, where we have examples of places where sidewalks, where either the surface are not even close to ADA standards for the through sidewalks, and some of it is because there's vaults that need to be either filled or reconstructed that have prevented that in the past, but are going to be done in this project. And like this one this is a sidewalk on Linden that's actually hard to traverse no matter what your accessibility is. And it will be this, it will be, put in at, at the ADA accessible grades with new sidewalks. And then this is another example of working with where in the previous project they had to work around a vault, and then, but we're going to, basically with a bigger footprint of our work, we're able to solve this steep.
Is that because the bump outs are going to allow for
Well, the bump out gives us more room to
the
transition.
slope? Right.
And then we also have like modifying some vaults, which is expensive, but that's why one of the reasons some previous projects didn't fix these things is because of the additional cost of having to modify, either fill in or modify the top of a vault. But the mission with this is to solve, since the funding is there, to solve problems of safety and accessibility that have not been previously solvable because of budget hurdles. So this is a very steep drop-off between the sidewalk and Biden Street. That will be fixed. And then some more run-of-the-mill steep cross slopes like this along Biden Street near Wyoming will be fixed. And with the bump outs, then we're also going to solve some of the drainage problems at handicap ramps and regrade and adjust storm inlet locations. So we'll be fixing the puddles, in front of downtown Delhi at the corner, so that it'll be safer and more accessible.
Last week I had asked about, we're putting in the bump outs and we also have basins. Do we have to move a lot of basins?
Yes.
The answer that I got back is we're communicating with PA Water to move basins.
Yes.
But are there a lot of basins that are being moved due to the bump outs? Every intersection has
Yeah,
one to
I think
two,
the
or
total's about 24.
24. All right.
And then at Wyoming, so the sidewalks are going to be redone on Wyoming, and getting rid of the deteriorating brick. And then along Bryden Street, along Bank Towers, this vault is going to get filled in. So what the asphalt is on top of, the top of the vault are flat stones, which are not necessarily the best structural solution or the best surface. So that vault is going to get filled in with flowable concrete fill, and the new sidewalks put in along there. Similarly, on the left there at Osaka, and there the sidewalks are going to be new sidewalks, and that Osaka is also a bluestone or slate slabs with asphalt on top of them, and that's going to be fixed. And on the right of that picture is the in front of Picardo's with the deteriorating brick stripes, and that will be replaced as part of that Biden Street project. And then the left is on Mulberry. So the Adam Street project is going to turn the corner and go up Mulberry on the south side of the street, where the accessibility is difficult due to the sidewalk situation, and then around the corner on Jefferson. And Jefferson is also going to get paved. And then there's going to be Jefferson, that block of Jefferson between Mulberry and Linden is going to be widened a little bit. And then that's going to allow us to fit in additional lane on Jefferson. So right now there's an additional lane between Linden and the expressway that is missing between Linden and Mulberry. That creates a backup in that area. So that additional lane is going to be added. That's going to improve the functioning of that corridor, including the Jefferson Mulberry. And then the corner, the north, or the southwest corner of Mulberry is going to be widened to allow truck traffic to stay in their lane to make a right from Mulberry onto Jefferson. So that signal equipment, so the signal equipment is new on one side of the street near the university side and old on the west side. That's going to get replaced and a pole moved back. And the city had already acquired the right-of-way for that a number of years ago. They acquired like a cutout in the corner, but never did the widening. So that curve will be widened. And this is just the project that was just awarded, where the sidewalk, and there's going to be lighting, the curbs and sidewalks from Adams up to the expressway are going to be replaced, except next to the Hilton, where they're relatively new, and there'll be trees and new street lights and a new wall put in along the loading dock ramp to the Radisson, and a sidewalk will be continuous on that south side of the street, and so that's the new wall along that ramp. So that wall it moves back at the one end. It moves back about 5 feet, and there'll be a continuous sidewalk, and the Colts bus stop is going to move from where it's at now near the entrance to the Radisson to more to the mid block, just to the just west of the stairs up to the train shed, and then so the sidewalks are going to be widened throughout here, and then there's going to be Colts are going to place one of their new bus shelters just to the right in this. I don't know if I highlight, it's not showing up, but basically there's a tree right there now. That's right around where the bus shelter is going to be, and the widened sidewalk. And then all of the wall is going to have a repair in this yellow area, and this red area, the top 4 feet of the wall are going to get replaced. The top 4 feet of this wall is above grade in the back, and it's leaning backwards, and there's a big long crack in it. Let me see, and parking. So we have some parking restrictions for intersection site distance, and we have, and for a turning lane on North Washington approaching Mulberry. And then we have, and we're going to sign, there's a lot of parking now that is allowed by parking signs that doesn't meet state code, like too close to intersections, inside existing turning lanes, or next to fire hydrants, and will be adjusted so that that the signage, is consistent with state vehicle code. And then the parking additions. So there's going to be parking on Lackawanna from Wyoming to Adams on the north side of the street, and that and there's also there's a turning lane if you're on Lackawanna approaching the right turn to Cedar. Right now there's a through lane, a left lane, and a right turn lane. The right turn lane is not warranted, so in front of that one half of the south side of the 500 block, we're able to add about 4 spaces in front of those businesses. So like, so then on the north side, then like where they're renovating the Coney Island, there'll be parking in front of the restaurant, which I think there's overall a net increase in space. So like on Wyoming, between Biden and Linden, we're able to get parking on both sides of the street. And then on Adams north of Vine Street, we're keeping one-way traffic where on that curved part, where Adams curves going north towards Washington, we're keeping it one way and adding parking along the curb line. And this is just sort of an example of in one place where we have to have some limit of some parking. So this is from the Jefferson to Adams. We're going to have two-way traffic. We'll have traffic going southbound towards or south or eastbound towards the expressway, and then we'll have traffic coming off the expressway and going, and there's going to be a through and left turn lane and a right turn lane. So there's no parking on the north side now, so that remains the same, but we have some parking restriction on the south side for the site distance exiting Kressler. So Kressler in these blocks is one way northbound. That is the rest of the prepared presentation.
Okay, so I have a question about parking. So, we're supposed to gain 69 to 70 parking spots, right? So, with our increased annual, $250,000 subsidy contribution to Grow America, that's our parking system contractor. How will the revenue from the proposed 69, 70 new parking spaces be reflected? So in other words, where will these revenue go and towards what? Will this reduce our contribution to them yearly?
So
I don't know how much revenue is coming from 70 spots.
I'll have to look into that, but I do not think that'll change because I think the city gets the revenue from the on-street parking. But let me look into that and get you back the answer to that question.
Okay, and then utilities. So, it's safe to assume that all the utilities will be done first. That only makes sense. The underground wiring, the catch basins. So, and with that said, are all the utilities pretty much in dialogue with you guys and give, before this project starts or when it's all opened up, putting the wiring in or whatever underground, are they going to give a good, clean bill of health so all of their pipes and basins and everything is healthy and not dug up a year after this is paved?
Well, they've been all put on notice, we've met with every utility, and we meet with the American on a monthly basis, and we've met with like Comcast and some other wired utilities on a monthly basis for the last, during the whole development process. So they're not going to be able to tear us. And so that's another reason, like, we're putting in a dock bank with additional capacity. And the arrangement basically is that the main dock bank will go in, and then the branches, the city will put in the branches that will go off and then the sidewalk. And Comcast or whoever is going to be in that has to reimburse the city for the work putting the branches in. So that we're going to have a single
understand that, because it's like you can run wires through conduit, and I'm talking about the other utilities, the gas and water. Outside of emergencies or a water main break, I get that, that happens, but prior to doing the paving and all this other work, are they going to say, hey, we're good, we don't have any sort of foreseeable projects a year from now? You know what happens, and it happens all the time.
Right, well, an example of that going on right now is Loop, the internet provider, reached out to us, and the city staff has coordinated a meeting with a number of property owners on Lackawanna because Loop wanted to provide service to them, so that meeting is taking place this week to do coordination. And don't forget the other piece that, God forbid there is an emergency and the utilities have to dig. We did upgrade and put more teeth in our paving ordinance, right? So
Well, I understand
I mean,
that.
we have that, and we can't account for emergencies, but we have been in constant contact with all the utilities, and that Loop is a good example that we want to get them in before any work on Lackawanna happens.
Okay.
When it comes to this plan, is this plan, so we talked about a lot of infrastructure, we talked about utilities, wires, basins, things like that. Is this plan customizable? If tonight the streetlight removal fails, will you move ahead with other portions of this plan, minus say, streetlight removals?
So, like for example, the improvement of the bump outs and handicap access ramps improvement, fixing the slopes of the sidewalk, and putting wires underground and putting new period lights up. They're all called streetscape improvements for that have a relation to the traffic changes, but have a benefit and separate from the traffic changes and are solving other problems. And basically, for the most part, they could be done without the traffic changes. For the most part, not entirely.
So, tonight we vote on three different things. We vote on streetlight removals, we vote on the change from one-way to two-way, and then we vote on parking changes. So none of those things, basins, sidewalk improvements, things like that, they're not per se included in what we're voting on tonight. And the Lackawanna streetscape has already been, the grant put out for that grant has already been approved, correct?
So each of these things needs to get, so we've been through the traffic review, and each of these things needs to get a construction permit from PennDOT. And the construction and the work needs to, so the PennDOT streets basically are, Biden Street. Oh, sorry. PennDOT streets are Biden from the expressway to Wyoming, Wyoming north of Biden Street, all of Adams Avenue, Linden Street, and so basically PennDOT has to give us a construction permit for that, and those permits need to be basically that's where some of the site distance things come in with parking.
Say that one more time.
The site distance, like at intersections,
Okay.
is something that PennDOT requires, to give a streetscape, to give us a permit to do the streetscape work, to work on a curb and a sidewalk. So they are the part that is integral to that. So basically, for these streets that have changes in traffic, if the traffic changes are different or substantially different, we have to go back through the traffic study steps with PennDOT to review whatever the other alternative is and get that approved before they'll approve the construction permits for each of these. And we have separate contracts on Biden, Wyoming, like Adams, the Adams, Mulberry, Linden, and then Wyoming, not Wyoming, Washington, Linden, Adams, Mulberry, Jefferson. So there are different groups of contracts. They're going to have PennDOT permits, and they're supposed to be consistent with the traffic changes. So if we change the traffic proposal, we have to go back through and prove each of those things out. And we've already gone through with them the justification and necessity and of, say, removing signals that are no longer warranted, and why, through the levels of service and site distance and crash analysis, the signal should be removed. So what we'd have to do is basically go back to them and show them why not doing those things, is better. So that would be a pretty significant setback in the ability to get the project done on time.
And Councilman, if I could just add, the ARPA spending deadline is September of 2026. We've been through the PennDOT process for an extensive period of time. Right now, it is very tight to get it done. Any delays in the project probably jeopardize the funding.
So with that being said, we got a list of 62 businesses that you reached out to. Did you speak with all 62?
No, I think we highlighted the ones that we have actually spoken to, and we're continuing that process. The staff in my office have continued on.
Okay.
Scranton Tomorrow has been working on our behalf, actually reaching out to businesses, and the chamber is also involved as well. We're presenting to them on Friday.
Okay, so it seems most have been spoken to, just a few remaining, but have they all agreed to the project? I know we have a handful that have agreed, but have all of these?
Some have issued support letters, others have just acknowledged that the project is going to occur. To the most part, we haven't had anyone that has objected to it, and the folks that have had concerns, we've had Engineer Reilly go out and chat with them.
Have any of these individuals or businesses just been at a meeting and they've stayed neutral? They've just been they were invited to the meeting, they showed up, but they had no opinion?
For the
no?
most part, the staff in my office either called them on the phone or knocked on their door.
Okay,
So some people did attend the public meetings, but I don't really have that data.
gotcha. And what's the total cost of this? I know we got $12 million, we got $15 million, I've heard higher
It's
numbers.
15.3.
15.3 for everything that we're discussing. Okay.
And the majority of that is ARPA. And the other point to note, that the RACPs have a 50% match, and we're matching the RACPs with ARPA. We will no longer have match if the ARPA expires.
When it comes to maintenance of those stop signs, do we have any kind of beat on what the maintenance is going to look like, if it's equal to the streetlights at this point in time, or if it's more?
Significantly less maintenance than traffic signals.
Okay, even with the solar and the lighting and everything that are on these stop signs? Okay.
I'm going to ask about the merchants again, so clarify this for me. So I look at the highlighted ones. So all this means is, I don't know how many meetings you had. I keep hearing one, I keep hearing two with stakeholders. But so the ones that are highlighted, they were just notified, period. It could have been 2 years ago, it could have been 2 weeks ago.
There was
for
no
all I
what?
know. The highlighted merchant or vendors that you presented to us, all this is telling me, doesn't tell me, all it tells me is they were notified. I don't know if they were notified 2 years ago. I don't know
During this process in the last calendar year, and we're continuing to talk to them now, so if they have any concerns, we're bringing it back to Engineer Reilly. And Scranton Tomorrow, as I said, has been knocking on doors as well.
So, okay, so if they have concerns, are they being met?
Yes,
In what
actually,
fashion?
a great one is downtown Delhi. Their concern was the water that's by the corner. They brought it up many times. I know that question's come to you all many times to get the street sweeper down there. So that is one area where the bump out is and the drain's going. So that concern was met. In talking to the Association of the Blind, that's another one that was met. The Ritz Theater, they have an issue where they don't care for the bump outs that are near the front of their business. So that piece will be taken care of as well. So as things come to us, we work to meet with them as best we can. We sat with Colts today. Colts was very positive because this is a very big safety measure for them, because now they could drop off individuals on the proper side of the road so that they're not having to cross across 2 lanes.
Well, the
so an
standing water at the downtown deli is just a common sense decision.
So like
It's visible, it's not like a, what I'm asking is, how do they feel about the 4-way stops and the change to 2 ways? I mean, that's what we're voting on, that's what I'm concerned about. But like, this is just my take, and don't take it personal, but the decisions for these plans were made probably 2 years ago. They were only brought to us last week, and next week's the final vote. So we didn't have much discussion. We're hearing it, we're just hearing what we're hearing.
Councilman, we did have
I just wanna
meetings.
finish.
We did have meetings, and everyone was invited to attend.
But how many? 2?
There were 2, but we also invited everybody from council to
Okay,
come
but
and talk to
2
us.
over the
and
course of
some of the
2
council
years.
members did come.
Okay, that's fine, good for them. But, well, we weren't updated with the meetings or provided, you know, any minutes of the meetings or any information that could help us make a better decision. And sometimes that happens too much. So like I said, last week was the first time that administration has asked for our concerns or input, but it appears it doesn't matter at this point. It appears it doesn't matter to the vendors at this point, because you said they contacted them. That doesn't mean you had dialogue with them. I'm hearing from vendors that said, I don't even know what's going on. Some of them are listed on here. I'm not going to call them out or name them, but they're like, yeah, I heard about something 2 years ago. That's it. And so did I. But really, the discussion has occurred last week and this week, and the final vote's next week. There wasn't great dialogue, and there was 2 meetings in 3 years. That's not enough time for anybody. I'm just stating how I feel and how I feel only.
Tonight, we have 7 streetlights that we're thinking about removing, but on the map, there's more than 7. Can you just explain that? On the resolution, it has Lackawanna and Penn, it has Biden and Penn, it has Linden and Penn, Linden and Wyoming, Linden and North Washington, Vine Street and Adams, and Vine Street and Jefferson. And I know some of the stop sign on Mifflin Ave is something that's there, but there's other ones. Yeah, how many in total? It's 13. Okay. So the resolution has 7, but 13. Will that be something that comes down later? Like other legislation that will come to us later? So multiple projects? Multiple projects? Multiple projects?
Future projects.
Okay. It continues, there's 3 more on the next page, though. Okay. Okay.
I have a quick one. So we talked about, you stated that, some people weren't on board, but they are now, the Blind Association being one. But still, the advocate from Sills sent us an email on the 22nd, right? And he had some concerns, and because he's disabled himself, God bless him, right? So he said, okay, of course, like myself, I'm in favor. Majority of the work is going to be done because it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing because we got a bunch of money from COVID. And I'm happy with the paving. I'm happy with the sidewalks. I'm happy with the lighting around the Radisson. I'm not happy with, and it's obvious, the 4-ways and maybe the 1-ways. But he voiced his concerns and said, you know what, I'll meet. He's going to meet with you guys, and he did. So then we get an email Monday the 20th. And he goes, it was said that the project has the blessing of the Center for Independent Living. We spoke of last week, because I asked that.
Right, we didn't say, so what we had said was we engaged with him. It was not anybody from the administration that said we had his blessing. He did respond to that.
I kind of felt that you said they're good. So
Right, but we did have
a
a great conversation with Mr.
Okay, well, I
Williams.
just want to, he emailed me again, so I'm speaking on his behalf. And
Okay.
And he said, this is not the case. I was invited by Mayor Cognetti to meet Eileen Cipriani, Mr. Reilly, and her on October 3rd. It was an informative session, and I expressed my concerns about replacing traffic lights with stop signs. Mr. Reilly said that the curb cuts on these intersections will be extended and buffers will be placed along the edges for safety. In theory, it will shorten the distance between corners for pedestrians to navigate. However, it is my belief that the distances are not shortened enough to eliminate possible accidents. I appreciate the opportunity to meet with them. So I'm confused when you keep saying we continue to have dialogue, but how it works in here, once we vote on something, it's over for the most part. So I just hope these people don't have false hope that they're going to have continued dialogue and have their concerns met, because it doesn't look that way.
No, well, I think we were very clear.
I take only,
I think we were very clear with Mr. Williams. His concern were the traffic signals. He did like everything else about the project, to the best of my recollection. There's a lot of safety issues downtown that he noted, and Reilly Engineering had documented. So that was, what he had brought back to us. Don't forget, I think we keep losing sight of the fact that there is a whole process to how these traffic signals get changed. And it's a months-long, 3 months-long process. It's not like someone's going to go take them down tomorrow. If it is warranted and the data and the documents prove that it really should stay there, then we go back to PennDOT with that information, and that should stay there. So there is a process. It's not an all or nothing that we can correct that. And actually, Tom had looked at a number of other cities, and sometimes that does happen. They decide that this isn't warranted. Then when they analyze the traffic patterns, the pedestrian patterns, and they realize, well, you know what, on second thought, after we see what's going on, it should stay. That's just the way it operates.
Right, so then when you go through the process, you make it clear to the public that this is being, you give them a message that this study is starting, it's going to start, and then you give them a warning, and then, the city, will have the ability to take input from the public, as well as having engineers and the emergency services people and observe. And I know PennDOT will be out observing also. So there's and every intersection
Tom, I read the email as well from Keith Williams, and is it fair to say that the new traffic patterns, or at least the new crosswalks, or the crossing at the corners with the bump outs, it sounds like he acknowledged while they're shorter, I think he said they're not short enough. Well, I mean, maybe we should have a conversation with him. Like, I would think that if they're shorter, it's going to improve from what it is. But then, like, how much shorter can it get? Because obviously, vehicles have to cross as well. But I would think the improved lighting and the improved crosswalks and the signals and things would help improve that.
So the lanes, are kept, in each of these intersections, there'll be one lane in each direction, and then, brightly colored crosswalk. And the crosswalk is going to be the shortest that you could possibly make it, and still have traffic flow.
That's my point. Like, I don't know how it could get any shorter than what you've done by putting those bump outs. But
Right, it's not physically possible to have a lane, a lane of traffic, a lane in each direction, and have a shorter crossing.
right. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Reilly, do you mind briefly explaining something we had discussed yesterday about the signage for the intersections that would be changing from a signal to a stop sign? Because I know I had been wondering, like, what indicator there would be for drivers on the street to know that those changes are taking place. And you had mentioned temporary electronic signage at each of those intersections, correct?
So basically, what was brought up was taking and having the advance warning signs for, to watch out for pedestrians in the crosswalk, and that would also be illuminated, as additional warning signs that would be allowable to do and feasible. And it's basically, the interest is using all of the best practices to have the safest intersection. And I think it's just because there's a signal there and a walk button at a signalized intersection doesn't mean that it makes the intersection as a totally safe place between pedestrians and vehicles. So the two-way traffic, the narrower crossings, the not having signals where they're not warranted is all part of the calming of traffic in the downtown and having a better interface between between vehicles and between vehicles and other vehicles and vehicles and pedestrians. And so traffic going two ways, is proven in an urban setting to slow down traffic. It's a benefit. So each of these things is meant to calm traffic, and slower traffic at intersections gives more time for both the pedestrian and the vehicle to see each other, but gives a wider, slower traffic has a wider vision than a pedestrian at a bump out, is more visible to the driver. So it's really all about slower traffic in the downtown setting. And
Can you give just a general overview of how four-way stop signs are safer than the current lights? I think it's kind of what you're speaking about right now.
Right.
But
safer because of traffic going through the intersection at slower speeds than traffic that goes through an intersection either at a green light or at or going through a yellow or running a red light. The speeds are higher. And, I think, the chief has talked about, the accident history at signalized intersections. We continue to see pedestrian vehicle accidents in crosswalks at signalized intersections. And slower traffic at the intersection results in, less serious vehicle to vehicle and less serious vehicle to pedestrian.
We don't know that for sure because there's going to be a trial period.
Pardon?
We don't know that for sure.
I could tell you from,
No, I'm just saying, then why the trial period if we know it's set in stone, it's safer? You're going to have a trial period for 60 days to see if it is safer and make adjustments.
well, there's been studies that have been done on this, and I've gone down that rabbit hole. There's been studies that have been done, stop signs versus traffic signals, as far as accidents go. Just from our point of view, accidents in the fire service, the majority of our accidents, I think it's 54% of our accidents, or 50-some% of our accidents that we have with vehicles occur at intersections. And the traffic signal intersections account for the highest incidence of our most severe injuries that occur because of the traffic signal. Most people are stopping at stop signs. You're not seeing them blow stop signs like they blow red lights. I've been in law enforcement, I'm not going to take from the chief, but I've been in law enforcement since 1996 as well. You see them at stop signs, obviously, but it's the traffic signals where people are trying to make the yellow. And that's where we see the higher percentage of our accidents. Even when we take neighborhoods and look at accidents that happen in neighborhoods, kids getting hit or people getting hit at two-way or four-way stop signs. Those injuries are typically less severe than what we're seeing at signalized intersections. And I get it. There's, change is always, I think two things we probably hate in this area is the way things are and change. And I think that, looking at this for that trial period and finding out what flushes out is going to be good, and that data can come back to you as well. But I know just from the research that I've done and looking at our statistics for the accidents that have happened here in the city of Scranton back to 2020, the traffic signal accidents seem to account for the higher percentage of severe injuries that occur at them.
All right. All right, well, thank you very much for coming and answering all the questions. We will start our next meeting in about 5 minutes, our regular council meeting.